Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. The Nashua Police Department and many more in New Hampshire law enforcement are in mourning over the loss of Captain Jonathan Leto. Captain Leto's family and the department made public the fact that his death was a suicide in hopes that other first responders who are nursing the invisible wounds inflicted by mental illness might seek help. We have some help today in exploring this very tough topic. Chief David Goldstein of Franklin Police Department, Susan Stearns from the National Alliance on Mental Illness of New Hampshire, NAMI New Hampshire, and also Detective Justin Breton of the Manchester Police Department. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate your time today.
You're welcome.
Chief Goldstein, let's start with you. This is one of those situations, people always say, how does something like this happen? This is a pillar in the department, a longtime leader there. He'd been on the job for 20 years. But how does something like this happen?
That's a very good question, and it's obviously a multifaceted consideration and concern of ours. One of the things that does happen in police work is police officers are very, very good at hiding their emotions. We train to do that. We're actually brought up in our profession to do that so that we can deal with other people's problems, other people's emotions. And as a result, sometimes we miss the signs among our own, among police officers who may be having some problems.
Yeah. Detective Breton, let's shift to you. Culture is very important in any police department, and as the chief was referencing, a lot of the culture is control. You have to stay in control of your emotions and your body at all times. How do you change, obviously that part of it doesn't change, but how do you change the culture to one that accepts dealing with mental illness?
I think it's patience. It's a lot of patience, working together, just trying to educate our officers and let them know the different things that they are going to experience after being exposed to these critical incidents, and then how to deal with them afterwards.
Mm-hmm. What sort of programs are in place, say for instance in Manchester Police Department, when something does happen?
In Manchester, we have a peer-to-peer team. We partner with Chief Goldstein, several local community mental health providers, and we work together to provide mental health services for our officers after critical incidents.
And Susan, you've been working in this field for a long time. Certainly this is a high-stress environment that these officers face. What's your perspective on the long-term sort of arc of the culture and the changes that have been going on in law enforcement and among first responders?
Well, we are seeing some real change that's happening, and we're seeing a lot of local law enforcement agencies and the New Hampshire State Police implementing these peer-to-peer models. And, you know, huge kudos to the Nashua PD for coming out, and the family for sharing this, because we really need to eradicate that stigma that creates such a difficult time for folks to reach out and get help, you know, to get help for the stuff above the neck, just like you would if you had an issue with something below the neck. And for our law enforcement who do have such high stress jobs, this is something that needs to be part of their culture, and that it's okay to sometimes ask for help, and that it's not going to affect your long-term career. That it's seen as, yes, it's just part of living and part of life. Sometimes we all might need a little help.
Yeah. And Chief, how have you seen this evolve in your 4 decades in law enforcement? I'm guessing 70s and 80s mental health issues might have been a career ender, and the change is hopefully happening now.
Very much so. In fact, what we saw in Nashua, including both the Nashua Police and the Leto family, was incredible. It's probably some of the bravest act I've ever seen relative to mental health in law enforcement in my 40-year career. In the early days, we would not even acknowledge this type of behavior. In fact, if this became known to police administrations in those days, police officers would have been fired or let go, or at least put into assignments where they couldn't interact with the public and weren't out on the street. This is, as you said, an evolutionary process, and finally we're seeing some very positive inroads into the conditions themselves.
And Detective, how much of the culture within a department, it doesn't have to be specific to Manchester, but in terms of speaking out when you see someone who might be having a problem, is it okay to approach them and talk? Is that something that goes on?
Absolutely. It's definitely in Manchester. We've been fortunate enough to have a team since 2012. It's been accepted throughout our entire department, both civilian and sworn. And so whenever anyone has concerns about another officer, a fellow law enforcement employee, they'll either reach out to us as team members, or they'll, you know, point them in the right direction to say, hey, these are the people you need to reach out to in the department. You really should go talk to them.
And Susan, it's staggering. One of the leading causes of first responder deaths these days is suicide. What are some of the next steps that we need to be seeing from policymakers and from the program side within departments, do you think?
Well, we have seen here in New Hampshire just recently some changes in policies that will hopefully help, particularly the recently signed into law bill to include post-traumatic stress disorder for first responders as as a viable workers' comp claim. So we are seeing systems change. We do have a lot more to do. At the national level, we're seeing looking towards implementing a 3-digit crisis line number, and we are seeing more and more training for law enforcement, things like crisis intervention team training, and ensuring that our law enforcement officers who do so much for the community are getting the support that they need as well.
You mentioned how much officers do. Chief Goldstein, these days police are being asked to be ready for mass shootings and terrorist attacks while also being that community officer who can be in that viral dance video and do all of those things at once. Are we as a society asking too much of our police right now?
I don't think we're asking too much of our police. I think that we're not giving the police the tools necessary to do the job. And like anything else, fire, EMS, we need more personnel, we need more money, we need more training, we need more community involvement as well to help us out. But no, I would not say that we're being asked to do too much. It's always been our role to do anything and everything that the community needs. What we do have today, for example, such as NAMI and the teams that we work with for law enforcement officers, is a place to go, which we never had before. In the old days, quote unquote, when we would deal with these problems, they were done like drug deals. They were done at night in unmarked cars in plain clothes at a Dunkin' Donuts somewhere, and that's how we handled these problems. Today, it's open and above board.
Detective, what do you think of that? Is too much being demanded of our officers these days?
No, I definitely don't think so. We all got into this profession for a reason. We all knew that some of the things that we would face day in and day out. I just think we are all grateful that this issue is now coming to light a little bit more, and we are able to get some of the support that we need from the community.
Mm-hmm. Susan, if we're talking about this in 10 years, will we be talking about this in 10 years? I'm trying to think of, this is such a long-term problem, and obviously mental illness is here to stay. It's part of the human condition. What do you think?
Yes, I think we'll be talking about it in 10 years, but I think we will have moved the needle further down the road, and I think that we will start seeing some real change, a decrease in these numbers, and an increase in folks, particularly law enforcement, other first responders, reaching out for help, and their departments supporting them in doing that, as we're seeing here in New Hampshire. And so I do believe that we will see change, but this has been a long time, the development of these issues, so it's not something that we can fix right overnight, but we have a lot of folks here on the ground who are working really hard on it.
All right, Chief, and I'm guessing you might still be Chief in 10 years, potentially, given how long you've been on the job. But what would you like to see? Where should we be in New Hampshire on this issue a decade from now?
We should be completely open and above board about this. We should have all of the services, support services that law enforcement needs in order to be able to do our jobs. We should have more and more training. We should have more involvement in the community relative to this. Because not only for law enforcement and first responders, but suicide is consistently one of the 10 leading causes of death in the United States in general. So now we're looking at a problem that is manifesting itself all over the place. It's not going to go away right away. This, as we're fond of saying, is our next big mountain. We have to scale that mountain. We've done a great job so far, but we have to keep going.
And Detective, what can the public do to help? Obviously, there's the old say something, yeah. But what happens, what can the public do to support police officers?
I think what we're seeing in the way that the public is helping is there's been an increase of community mental health providers that are taking the time to learn about our profession, to learn about the incidents and the calls that we deal with day in and day out, and they're tailoring their programs and services to help meet our needs and make sure that our officers feel comfortable and are willing to go see these folks when the time comes and when we need it.
All right, and as we wrap up here, Chief, I'm not sure if you knew Captain Ledo personally or anything like that. What have you learned, though, in working with the Nashua Police Department about what kind of police officer he was?
Incredible police officer. He was incredibly bright. In fact, I heard that he was brilliant. He was an attorney, a bar-admitted attorney. He was steady state. He was the guy that everybody went to when they had to ask a question about virtually anything, and this is a tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely, and our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to the Nashua Police Department and also the law enforcement community at large. Chief Susan and Detective, we thank you for your perspective, your service, and all of your help today in helping us get through this.
Thank you.
More than
Appreciate it.
welcome.